CA Workload Automation DE, formerly D-Series, simplifies cross-enterprise workload automation through a single platform that is easy to use, install, and manage. Its object-oriented architecture reduces and simplifies scheduling definitions, allowing operations or application development teams to easily define schedules and calendars once and reuse them many times. During this demonstration, you will learn how to set up the CA Workload Automation DE server environment with an embedded PostgreSQL database, desktop client installation, and running sample workload through Desktop Client. We've already launched the installer. Now, we'll accept the end-user license agreement to proceed. Next, we'll choose the Install option to install the DE server. Choose the default program group CA for product icons and shortcuts, and choose the default installation path for the DE server. The host name or IP address is auto-detected and populated by the installer. We'll leave it as is. Since this is not a high availability configuration, but rather a standalone server installation, we will leave No selected. Here we will choose the default ports and ensure that no other process is running on those ports. We will leave the unique ID that presents on the system after installation. We will leave the default options for email setup. This is to receive license-related and job-related messages. We'll also leave the default agent name and agent port. We will leave the default agent encryption cipher selected. We will leave the default agent encryption key selected. Here we will choose the database that we want the server to use. We will select the PostgreSQL embedded option. We must also enter a strong password for the default database, and be sure to remember the password for later use. Enter the strong password into the password field. Retype the same password into the retype password field. Next, we will leave the default set to manual for the Windows Service mode on the Windows Service Configuration panel. Now, we will review the pre-installation summary. Note that the client consumes nearly 300 megabytes of disk space, which is a smaller footprint than a server-class enterprise software setup. This installs CA Workload Automation DE server and a default system agent. Finally, we will click Install. For the embedded PostgreSQL database installation, Microsoft Visual C++ redistributable components are required to be installed as a prerequisite step. The installation proceeds further, and a progress bar indicator shows the install process completion percentage. After successful PostgreSQL database installation, the packaged system agent installation gets started. Finally, we will click Done to complete the DE server installation. Now, to install the DE desktop client, we will launch the DE desktop client installer. First, we will accept the user license agreement. We will keep the default installation path. We will also accept the default product shortcuts for the installation. Next, we will review the pre-installation summary. Note that the client consumes nearly 300 megabytes of disk space, which is a smaller footprint than what we have available. Now, we will click Install. The installation proceeds and a progress indicator shows the install process completion percentage. The progress indicator is not displayed in this demonstration. Finally, we will click Done to complete the installation process and close the successful installation panel. Now we will go to the Windows Services Manager to start the CA Workload Automation DE server and system agent processes. First, we will click Start to start the DE server process. Now, we'll click on CA Workload Automation System Agent 7520 and click Start to start the System Agent service. The progress bar indicates successful startup of the process. Now, we will launch the DE desktop client. From the Welcome to Desktop Client screen, we will navigate to the Define perspective and then update the workload. Right-click on the connection established to view options in the pop-up menu. Here we see the connection. Now, we will download the Verify application. Next, we will trigger the workload to run the jobs. Now, we will go to the Monitor perspective and select Subscribe All. We will expand the views and verify that the default application Verify successfully completed and all the jobs executed. This confirms that the CA Workload Automation DE server, system agent, and desktop client are ready for defining, scheduling, and monitoring the workload.